What is up guys, Zach here from the Chaos Galaxy, and today I'm going to be doing a one-off video going through the history of the homemade trading card game or HTCG community on YouTube. I've been a part of this amazing, creative, really supportive group on YouTube for 6 years now, and it's been such a huge part of my life, but this community has been around far longer than the Chaos Galaxy game has, and it will go on once the Chaos Galaxy is finished. Also, just before I jump into this video has been made from my perspective. I've asked people from the community certain questions about the history of games, but if there are topics you feel I've overlooked, games I've missed out, or some facts I've got wrong, I apologise, but this is a history from my experience and looking at it through my eyes. So, to start, we need to go back to 2011 and talk about a man called Peter Jank. I like to think of him as like the godfather of homemade TCGs. Now, there are obviously people making card games at home way before 2011, me included as a kid. However, nobody had shown these games to the world through a medium like YouTube. And on January the 16th, 2011, a video was uploaded to Peter's channel.
This is my game. It's a trading card game, much like a lot of other trading cards. You've got different types of cards.
In the video, Peter explains the premise of his game, Tactic Legends. He shows some handmade booster packs and talks about his development of the rules. And this video, although filmed on a shaky camera in not the best quality, surrounded by music videos and videos of his friends from the military, is the dawn of the homemade card game community. It's still on YouTube now if you want to check it out. Peter's changed his channel name now and is pretty inactive in the community, although I am still aware that he makes games and he will forever be the reason why this community exists, and we'll be talking a lot more about Peter in this video. Just a couple of months after this, by pure coincidence, a channel called The Homemade Game Guru uploaded a video on how to make trading cards at home, featuring a simple rock, paper, scissors style game, which actually looks really cool. This video shows techniques that I still use today when making games, and with the number of views that the video has, it must have been a huge catalyst into getting the community started. So the scene was set. Peter Jank had shown his own homemade card game, and the Homemade Game Guru had shown the world how to make them. All it needed was creators, and the homemade TCG community could begin. Back in this time, I was 14 and had a Yu-Gi-Oh dedicated YouTube channel, but I was looking to start showing my old games to the world, as I'd already been making games in my bedroom for a couple of years. So I kept an eye on YouTube as gradually a couple of small channels built up showing trading card games made at home. These channels were nothing like the homemade TCG videos of today. Most channels were dedicated to gaming, illustration and other things, and just had a couple of uploads showing games made in their spare time. Even Peter Jank's channel, Tactic Legends, was just a random upload amongst other videos and was by no means the focus of his YouTube activity. There was no Gamecrafter to produce and sell your cards, no way to play or talk about your games online, no Discord to discuss ideas, or even a YouTube community. And everything was literally done in your bedroom if you were a trading card game creator. Over the next couple of years, other homemade TCGs began popping up in small corners of YouTube. KcoKT with her game Final Crisis, and IPGS are the main few names around this time, and a small community began to build itself. But no creator, even the biggest at the time, had made it to a couple of hundred subscribers, and weekly uploads weren't a thing, definitely. But by 2013, one TCG maker stood out from the rest. His game was Adventure Realms, and his name was Kiwi KJ. Kiwi posted multiple videos a week and had a super accessible game, inspired by his favourite show Adventure Time. His super original game had a simple, cartoonish artwork that had so much personality in every card. When you watch one of his videos, you just wanted to pick up a pen and paper and start drawing. A lot of the video techniques used by Kiwi kind of defined how homemade TCG videos look today. The desk, the plain white background, drawing materials and frame. And if you looked up Homemade TCG on YouTube back in 2013, you'd find an Adventure Realms video, or a game that was obviously copied from Adventure Realms. I'd say at least half of the channels in the community at this time period were started due to Kiwi KJ's inspiration. Adventure Realms broke through the roof of, at the time, the very small Homemade TCG scene. He even set up a website for the game and started selling some of his cards. I believe he was the very first TCG maker to do this. And soon after, Kiwi did what no other TCG creator had managed to do in history. He hit 1,000 subscribers, which was unheard of for a card game on YouTube. Over the next year or so, the community exploded with some amazing homemade card games. Faction Wars TCG by Yellow Duck, Wanted Striker with his game Card Wars, ICCS Sunlord with the Dimensions of Silmac game, Flynn and Card Armies TCG were some of the biggest names at the time. Peter Jank also continued to upload card game material throughout this. The community was booming, and then, 3 sets deep into Adventure Realms, Kiwi KJ deleted his channel. You can't find any of his videos today, which is such a shame. This wasn't the end of Kiwi KJ and Adventure Realms, and he'd inspired thousands of people to start making games at home. If Peter Jank was the godfather of TCGs, Kiwi KJ was the master of them. The community had built itself a platform. With new games being created on a weekly basis, people would comment on each other's videos, and the more recognised games would start to promote smaller channels. And then an announcement was made that would set up this group of separate homemade TCG makers as a complete community. At the end of 2014, Peter Jank, the legend, set up a second channel, one that would unite all the TCG creators from across YouTube. Its name was TCG News, and it was a channel dedicated to finding the newest and coolest card games on YouTube. It got to the point where multiple homemade TCG videos would come out every week. So what Peter did with TCG News was simply run through all the search results for homemade TCG that had been released that week on YouTube and would review them. Games like Temple Monsters TCG, Quest TCG, Home Brewery Gaming, Preston Sketches, and so many more that I've missed out were created and given the exposure they deserved by Peter on his TCG News channel. Kiwi KJ even started up a new channel under the name Kiwi KJ, where he started about new games in the works with support from Peter and the rest of the community. Honestly, the TCG News YouTube channel is the biggest goldmine of old TCG content on YouTube, and it's still up there. I'd really recommend checking it out. He also has segments where he'd dedicate one video to a more established game at the time, giving creators like Kiwi, Yellow Duck and Wanted Striker the appreciation they deserved. I'd like to think of this era from the start to mid-2015 as the homemade TCG Renaissance. So many amazing games popped up, and the conditions for creating a homemade TCG were just right. YouTube was such a different place then, and your content was more likely to get recognised, and platforms like Twitch weren't around to steal your potential audience. There was never a better time to release a homemade TCG to the world. So that's what I did, and in January 2015, I posted my first video showing some of the cards I've been working on for the Chaos Galaxy TCG. I planned the video for a while. I'd even pretty much completed set 1 before I'd had the courage to make a video, but the magic of the community and what it now was meant I had to get on board. I set up a channel and let everyone from my Yu-Gi-Oh channel at the time know that my passion lay with TCG creating, and I posted this. And honestly, it was the best decision I've made in my entire life. I had no idea what the response to my game would get compared to some of the others out there, but right from my first video, everyone was so positive. People loved the game, the planets, the premise, and from my first couple of videos, I was getting feedback from some of the biggest names in the community. This is how supportive everyone was. A channel on the other side of the world with 500 plus subscribers was taking the time to give positive feedback on my video that had like 3 views. I'd made 3 or 4 videos, and then, as I always did, I went to open the latest TCG News video of the week. And this happened.
I want to make sure I didn't miss any, because I definitely don't want to miss any from you guys. Oh, Chaos Galaxy. See, this is what I'm talking about. So I don't know how he's bypassed. He's got a couple videos already out, but Chaos Galaxy is an amazing card game that I really like. The planets behind him, he's got a very unique story to every single one of them. Definitely check out Chaos Galaxy. He's put a lot of hard work on a lot of his videos. Please take a look at his. And like I said, his name is Chaos Galaxy TCG.
Look, I had 24 subscribers and I went to like 50 straight overnight. I'll never forget the feeling of excitement that day. I felt like I was the next PewDiePie, and it was just amazing. After only making a handful of videos, I knew that this was all I wanted to do, and I put so much focus into the game, and with the whole community behind me from such an early stage, I slowly phased out working on my Yu-Gi-Oh channel, so I was part of a much better community now. Led by Jank, a lot of channels started hitting 1,000 subscribers. ICCS Sunlord, Flynn, Soaps, Sketchbook Chronicles, Dimension Battles TCG, and personally, my favourite homemade TCG of all time, Wanted Striker with Card Wars. This guy had the most unreal drawing techniques you've ever seen, and after Kiwi, Wanted Striker led the way in homemade TCGs, making full booster boxes, full art cards, and just such innovative stuff. Like, look at these. Every card is amazing. Unfortunately, his channel is now gone too, but he has clips on TCG News dedicated to him, and I have so much respect for Wanted Striker. I really hope he's putting his artistic talent to use with wherever he is in life now. But the community was booming, and in May 2015, Paper Products Inc., an interesting channel who never really stuck to one game and had 6 or 7 smaller ones on the go, discovered another way to elevate the community and make people's homemade paper cards into real trading card games.
So today I'm coming with you with 3 booster packs of a trading card game that I made to test out a software called the Gamecrafter.com. This service creates professionally printed cards for you and prints them out and gives them cool packaging, and also allows you to make booster packs with randomized cards. So they cover this in a plastic. So if you guys have a trading card game that you're making online already, this is, instead of printing it out on paper, this is a great way to print out your cards. They're very official looking. And here's our deck.
Seriously, give this video a watch. Paper Products Inc. had some awesome games, and this simple TCG about bees is probably the most important homemade TCG ever made, behind Peter Jank's first Tactic Legends showcase. People could now sell their games to the world online, and rather than people's TCGs being contained to their bedrooms, there were no limits as to who could get their hands on your cards, battle with them, and trade them. And you didn't have to do anything. The printing, shipping, setting up a web store, the Gamecrafter did it all. All you had to do was make your TCG. The video was the talk of the community over the next few weeks. The discovery of the Gamecrafter was big, but it was slow to catch on. People were slightly reluctant to use the service at first. There was literally only one video on YouTube showing how the website worked. The shipping was expensive and it took a while. A lot of players were too young to afford this. And there's still debate now as to whether a TCG is homemade if it's being sold around the world. But gradually, people came around to see that the Gamecrafter was there to benefit the community. Peter Jank made a test game and gave a really positive review on TCG News, sharing his thoughts with the Gamecrafter's service. And I made a test game to see how I felt about the website, a rehash of an old childhood TCG called Little Dude's Legends. But the Gamecrafter seemed legit, and after a few months in mid-2015, people were on board and more games started going up on the site. Being the TCG master that he was, Peter Jank saw the discovery of the Gamecrafter as another opportunity to unite the community, and 6 months after founding the TCG News YouTube channel, he put his own game, Reality Rumble at the time, on hold to begin planning the first fully community-made trading card game.
So I got this crazy awesome announcement that I want to share to everybody. Here's the idea. So I want to make a card game, and the card game is going to be art from all of you guys.
Peter asked everyone in the HTCG community to submit their artworks. He wanted as many creators as possible to be a part of this new game. But the theme of the game was what was so unique, and it was the perfect way to emphasize different creators' art styles. The game didn't have your usual fire, water, earth type cards. He used movie genres as a basis for Dreamscape TCG. Horror, fantasy, comedy, sci-fi, that sort of stuff. Meaning a creator who made dark, adult-themed games could have their cards in the same game as a young player who was just starting out their artistic learning process, making funny sketches. and so could every other creator in between. Peter started the game on May the 3rd, 2015, and the game had such a huge response that by May 29th, 2015, he'd already completed the first 100 card set and posted that video that every TCG creator dreams of, receiving the package from the Gamecrafter with the first pack of your cards inside. The packs came with a mix of cards by dozens of creators and an awesome credits card naming every artist who contributed to the set. There was also a chance of pulling a cool creator card. Jank asked certain creators to make themselves as a card. Kiwi, Wanted Striker, ICCS Sunlord and plenty of others all had their own creator cards. Every creator at the time wanted to get a card into the game. I sent over my designs in June after set 1 and barely made it into set 2. Watching Peter open the cards and pulling ones I designed was such a thrill. I haven't put Chaos Galaxy on the Gamecrafter yet, so you have to understand that this was a big thing for me. I had 3 cards in the game, a comedy card called Night of the Lamb Chop, and a horror card which I've completely forgotten the name of, as well as my creator card. The Gamecrafter was still new to us all, and it was a bit daunting. I hadn't put Chaos Galaxy up for sale, so the thought of someone on the other side of the world getting a card I'd made was just unbelievable. And by the end of the year, I knew that the Gamecrafter was the best way to get my cards to the world, and I launched set 1 of the Chaos Galaxy. As I watched a couple of sales slowly trickle in from the game, this was honestly one of the happiest moments of my career as an artist when I watched a video of a kid just opening my booster packs on his YouTube channel. Knowing that someone liked my game enough to physically buy the cards and I wasn't just playing them with my little brother in my bedroom just felt so good. And with a new professional feel to a lot of homemade TCGs, some really impressive looking games started out. Eldritch Kingdom, Resolution Breakers, Randomopolis, Illumicent Souls TCG had some of the craziest artworks I'd ever seen in a game, and the Gamecrafter made them real. The community was going from strength to strength, and it felt like things would last forever. However, as time went on, the feel of the community changed. I'm not sure if it was because games had become too professional, in quotation marks, and things just didn't feel homemade anymore, or if people got tired as TCGs. People started to leave the community, Wanted Striker and Kiwi's videos started to slow down, and even Peter's uploads on TCG News began to dwindle. It almost felt like the old guard of TCG makers, the OGs, were moving on. Kiwi recently posted a video on this. I'll leave a link to it in the description, but it's really interesting to get his perspective on slowly leaving the community, and it's definitely worth a watch. Although this didn't happen instantly, the Gamecrafter had a few downsides, and not everyone wanted their games to be professional. The charm of a homemade TCG is that it feels homemade, and anyone can just pick up a pencil, paper, some crayons, and run with it. But with the old guard becoming quieter, the new guard began to shine. So guys, that was part 1 of my history of the homemade TCG community. I was meant to do it all in one video, but it would have been like 40 minutes long, and this video took me like 2 weeks to edit, hence why it's quite late, so I'm sorry about that. But I hope you enjoyed it. It's a bit of a different video. Hopefully I got most of the facts right. I know a lot of these events took place ages ago, and a lot of the footage isn't actually up on YouTube today, so it's hard to piece together when things happened. But if you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. All the main videos and channels that are still on YouTube that I mentioned in this video will be linked in the description as well, so definitely check them out. And yeah, if you want to get your hands on some Chaos Galaxy packs, there'll be a link to the online store in the description below. I've also got the merch store if you want to check that out as well. Follow me on Instagram at KcoKT TCG, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.